Broken arrows cannot go where you send them, no matter how hard you pray. Cast off, hand down, they took away home. People who roam and follow herds, migrate like birds. Wind listeners, brothers and sisters, from ocean canoe, totem poles and longhouse, potluck to sundance, sweat lodge and shaking tent, hunters, fishers, trappers, growers of commerce and corn. The strangers swore they'd reform. They all came, black coats and ne'er-do-wells, casting spells of fire sticks and iron pots, sleeping cots and Hudson's Bay blankets. Wetico. Politic brought the Iron Cross to subdue, and the wisest they threw into prisons to rot, as Inquisition further caught fire and spread. RCMP shoot dead the ghost dancers. No sin, not for them. Unsaved, heathens had no soul. A tidal arrival, cold and calculated, decimated villages in hate. They begged to participate in the New World Order, and the ghosts of the Biotech warned them into the song of a whale. Genocide's the alternative. Their ghosts whisper to whomever will listen as prisons fill with red blood. Indian name anglicized, one size for all curtain call, while bureaucrats fantasize the bureaucratic marginalizing of the Badlands. A word for rape did not exist in these landscapes. Shame begat more of the same. Survivors herded into plywood shacks with sacks of white flour and a pound of lard. Tea and sugar just reward for prime real estate. What fates await, moaned the ancestors as parents struggled to feed the needs of the future. They took the children, said they'd raise them in education, and the Holy Father would claim them. They named them Anne and Alice, Robert and Joe, and took them so far away no one would know their real names. Lined up by size and stature, cameras capture the fading light. And at night, black robes descended, frightened and cold in never-ending panic. Fanatic visions of hell and damnation pierce in penetration as innocence wanes. Experiments that the government ran, malnourished and lonely, a ready-made lab rat scenario succumbs to the status quo. Doctors take head measurements with implements of cold steel. One group got powdered milk, the other got none. Sons and daughters died as science learned about starvation through the manipulation of nutrients where half the students had and half had not. A pedophile safe haven, he promised a place in heaven if you obeyed. Heaven, that must be home, the children replied, and many more died. First language was stripped through birch switches and root cellar lockups, mock-ups of made-up penalties to ease the transition. Tongues cut with tiny scissors if you forgot, and called out for your Nokomis in the cold dark. Written books lay shame on ancestors, heathens, savages, ignorant and uneducated poor. We will redeem you and save your souls, they told them, to mold them, dress like, talk like, think like the whiter ones, the favored ones of a faraway God. Defeat steeped in sorrow meet the old ones with confusion, caught in the illusion of a promised tomorrow, while 2,000 daughters disappear, more every day, 5 generations later, and the Indian hater still stalks himself a squaw. Every spring thaw finds more bodies of young men staked in frozen forest, barefoot and coatless, hopeless. They're Indians, they can survive this cold, the officer told his new recruit. They're drunks anyway, no matter what way you educate them. Addiction soothed the tribal PTSD as memory after memory subsides and hides in the shadows of unspoken history. The great mystery unfolds as the settlers' sons and daughters peer into the smoky narrows, bearing witness to broken arrows lying scattered on the wasted Canadian ground.